Hello and welcome all to the sixth part of the series on self-exploration. Joining the dots, contemplating, comprehending and sharing it with you all raw, straight from my heart. All that sounds great is the grace of all those who have blessed me and lit my path, guided me and discussed with me on a very friendly note. And all that sounds not so great is my limitation. So let's get going. The selfless gene. Of late, I discussed with one of my senior friends and I got to know a concept called selfish gene put forward by Richard Dawkins. It was a very interesting concept. It says that the genes in our body are using us for their survival. We are just their instruments. They are using us as their instruments. This thought can prove to be a great concern, rather fear for great thinkers. When I connected to my subconscious over this thought, this was the answer that I got. My concept about cells in our body has always been something like this. I feel we are the kings of the empire called our body. And our cells are like the small citizens. Our cells are our progeny. I am the parent of all the cells in my body. So I must see to it that each cell gets good food, it gets enough oxygen, and it gets less toxins. Now, if each cell in my body is kept healthy by me, then it is going to help me in being healthy. What am I finally? I am a congregation of all these cells. If a good king keeps the progeny happy, they will cooperate with the king for the prosperity and protection of the empire. And if there is some disturbance, whom else will they complain to but the king? If something goes wrong with our cells, they will complain to us. Whom else? And that complaint will be in the form of some ailment, some pain, some discomfort. So what does a good king do? If some of the progeny approaches him with a complaint, with a disturbance, the king sets a good dialogue, understands the problems, tries to clear the problems, encourage the citizen where needed, isn't it? So if my sweet little cells communicate with me for some complaint, for some dis-ease, the lack of ease is dis-ease. So if there is some disease, I need to set a dialogue with the cell in that part of my body. I need to understand what is your trouble, how can I help you? And I also have to appreciate, acknowledge for what that cell has done to me till then. When my legs are paining, I must pat my legs and say, "Oh my God, you walked so much today. Tired, isn't it?" Just like you cuddle your baby, if you cuddle the cells in that part of the body, won't they feel better? It may sound funny, but if you try it once, you will really feel that the cells get comforted. They wish to cooperate with you. They feel acknowledged. Finally, cells are nothing but tiny living beings that come to birth, that grow, that reproduce, and that die one day. So, be friend with the cells in your body. I have no right to dictate on my cells because they harp in my body. No, that would be tyranny. Now entering in a zoom lens. There is a belief that our body is a miniature of the universe. Our body is a miniature of the universe. In Marathi, we have a phrase that says, "Pindi te Brahmandi." Whatever is there in the universe, it has a center in your body. Delving deep into this aspect will be diverting from our current idea. Maybe we can think of this some other time. But in that sense, just like we have cells in our body, we become the tiny cells in the universal body that is called as the Vishwa Purush. What are genes? Genes are the centers of intelligence in our body. The function of the genes is to manifest the inherited information. Genes get inherited information about the looks, the temperaments of the parent, and they manifest the same in the next generation. So genes inherit information from the upper generation and they also seed it for the next generation. Now, just like every cell and every gene in my body has some function, I also must be having some role in the universal body because I am a cell of the universal body. Now the cell may be a passive cell or an active gene. I don't know whether I am a passive cell in the universal body or I am an active gene that is going to inherit some information and carry it forward. When I live in my life, I do several actions, the karmas. And all of these karmas, all of these actions put together build the destiny of the universal body. Just like every small cell in my body does something, and that put together decides the fate of my body as a whole. So all our karmas of each living cell in the universal body will decide the fate of the universal body, the Vishwa Purush. Now, when the unhealthy cells in our body outnumber the healthy cells, when the unhealthy cells in our body outnumber the healthy cells, the body resistance fails and we succumb to the disease. When our immunity is high, we can fight the disease. But when our immunity is low, we succumb to the disease. What may be the reason for a deterioration in the quality of the universal body day in and day out? Maybe the bad deeds in the universe are outnumbering the good deeds with passing time. That is why the universal body is ailing today. Have we ever given a thought on this? Now, coming to an exactly opposite approach to the thought of the selfish gene that uses the body for its own benefit. How have I spent my life as a cell or as a gene? May be passive, may be active, but when I am a cell or a gene in the universal body, how have I spent my life? Have I been selfish and used the universal body in my benefits? Have I exploited the universal powers in making my ends meet? Or have I always given a higher priority to the betterment and flourishing of the universal body, at times even at the cost of my individual interests? Have I been a selfish gene? Or have I been a selfless gene in the universal body? Time to retrospect. Think over this. A very basic law of physics says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is the rule of the nature. As you sow, so shall you reap. Nature is the most just. It will never do even a bit of injustice. Not a bit of injustice. So, if I have behaved like a selfish gene in the universal body, the genes within me will behave selfish. Tit for tat. If I have used my intelligence to satisfy my need and exploited the universe, the cells or genes in my body will use their intelligence to satisfy their needs and exploit me in the process. and they will have no guilt about it. Why should they? They are just reciprocating to my approach towards the universe. But if I have used my entire life in making the universal body strong, if I have kept my personal interest aside and given with a large heart to the world without any expectation, the genes in me are bound to behave the same. They will reciprocate in a similar fashion. Nature will not allow them to be selfish. They will use their intelligence in raising my state as a body, my state as a mind, and they will see to it that I flourish, even at the cost of their interests. If I contribute in the transcendence of the universe, the genes in me will contribute towards my transcendence. In fractal understanding, every part is full. So I am complete as a fraction of the universe, and my genes are complete as my fraction. As you sow, so shall you reap. So, be good and you will get good. You be a selfless gene in the universal body, and your genes will be selfless genes in your body. Feel assured, one good turn always deserves another. Worth a thought? Stay tuned for some more such explorations.